What's going on, everyone? It's KBTHEMARK, co-host of the DMB podcast, and this is your Monday Night Raw review for May 24th, 2021. I would tell you it was Monday Night Raw, but Monday Night Raw hit a brand new level of lows with the reruns. This Monday Night Raw felt like a rerun with all of the rematches that they did. This show was bad from top to bottom. I'm going to go ahead and break it down. There were let me not say it was bad top to bottom. It was a boring show with great in-ring action. That's a great way to describe it. It was a boring show with great in-ring action. The in-ring action on Monday Night Raw was really good. But the show overall was boring because we were given rematches. If you want to go ahead and hop into it, we're going to start with the opening segment to kick off Monday Night Raw. MVP introduces the WWE champion. MVP introduces the almighty WWE champion, Bobby Lashley, and he comes out with 5 beautiful women for the second week in a row. MVP calls for a loud applause for the almighty WWE champion, Bobby Lashley, but MVP brings up that there's a dark cloud hanging over them. That bitter dark cloud has a name, and it's Drew McIntyre. Lashley says, I beat Drew at WrestleMania 37. Then I beat Drew and Braun at WrestleMania Backlash, so it's a no-go for Drew. We don't want to see him anymore. MVP says they tried to move on from Drew by issuing an open challenge last week, and Kofi Kingston thought he was worthy, but the dark cloud, Drew, had to show his face again. Drew interrupts. Drew says his business is getting back the WWE title. He says he would have won at WrestleMania if it weren't for MVP, and he would have won at Backlash if it weren't for Braun. Drew wants his one-on-one title shot, and deep down he believes Lashley wants the match too, to prove to the almighty's self that he is the number one superstar on Raw. Drew then says, but I could be wrong. Maybe deep down, Lashley knows he doesn't measure up to me and doesn't have the balls. Drew then asked the 5 lovely ladies that was with the almighty WWE champion, Bobby Lashley, if the almighty WWE champion, Bobby Lashley, has the balls. Then Kofi interrupts. I'm already not liking the fact that Kofi beat the almighty last week. And the fact that he was coming out now, my skin started to crawl. That's how mad I was. Kofi comes out, says they're making some good points, and he knows things move fast around here. But he doesn't want them to forget that he pinned the almighty WWE champion, Bobby Lashley, last week. Kofi then says, like the fans, he wants Drew to step his ass to the side, because Kingston did what Drew couldn't do in months, and that was pin the almighty WWE champion, Bobby Lashley. Adam Pearce then comes out and announces Kofi Kingston versus Drew McIntyre. The winner challenges Lashley at Hell in a Cell. MVP says that's a great idea. We're going to set up the VIP lounge at the top, and we're going to partake in the match. It was a great opening segment. Like I said, I still don't like the fact that Kofi beat the almighty WWE champion last week. But overall, it was still a good segment, and it led into a great match with a shit ending. That's Monday Night Raw for you in a nutshell. I don't know why the almighty WWE champion Bobby Lashley and MVP interfered. You would think you would want to know who you're going against at Hell in a Cell so you can prepare for it. Part of me wants Kofi to win, but like I said, I don't like the fact that he beat not only the Apex Predator, the Viper Randy Orton, and the almighty WWE champion last week. He really shouldn't even be in the main event picture. He's in a fucking tag team with Xavier Woods. And on top of that, you need tag teams in your division. We then go to the Beat the Clock challenge. Raw Women's Champion Rhea Ripley versus Nikki Cross. Rhea forgot that there was a 2-minute Beat the Clock challenge. Thank you, WWE. Hand clap of applause. You've made your Raw Women's Champion look like the biggest fucking idiot in the fucking promotion. How does the champion forget that she's in a 2-minute beat the clock challenge? She's a geek. Get the title off of her, send her back to NXT, because apparently you don't know how to make Rhea Ripley look like a star. This is the same Rhea Ripley who toppled Shayna Baszler in a classic on NXT. And she's losing a 2-minute beat the clock challenge. Congratulations, WWE. You've hit a new low in the women's division. Drew and Kofi walk into the office of Adam Pearce. They're both furious. Pearce says he's upset over what happened. A rematch will take place next week, and nothing has changed. The winner will still face the almighty WWE champion Bobby Lashley at Hell in a Cell. Kofi says he's fine with that, as long as Pearce finds a way to keep MVP and Lashley away from the match. There are a lot of people who sleep on Postman Pearce, but Postman Pearce, he literally has some of the best lines in WWE when he's talking to these superstars, and I'll get to that later on. Postman Pearce has grown on me. I'm really starting to like Postman Pearce. Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. Rematch. 50-50 booking got its finest, but I like how Charlotte instantly got the title match for Hell in a Cell. Last time I checked, Asuka won last week. Charlotte won this week. So give it to us 3 weeks in a row so we can get a proper winner. Shelton Benjamin versus Cedric Alexander. The new neighborhood jobbers when they were a tag team is what I was calling them. Shelton Benjamin versus Cedric Alexander. Cedric cuts a promo before the match starts. He says they had something together. They were the Raw Tag Team Champions. They were a part of the Hurt Business. Cedric continues to go on about how MVP brought them in, then kicked them out. Cedric calls Shelton washed up. He goes on to say he has years to make up for his past mistakes because he's young and fresh. In his prime, Cedric asks Shelton, how many years do you have left? How many opportunities? What does he have to show for his hard work? It was a decent match. Cedric Alexander can really be a star in this company if they just push him. Push him. Next up, my match of the night. We have Matt Riddle versus Xavier Woods. Riddle and Woods size each other up, going to the corner, tangling until the ref gets in between them. They lock up again. Riddle takes Woods to the corner. They tangle some more. Riddle takes Woods down. They go back to the mat. Woods backs off. Riddle then applies a body scissors, but Woods breaks it by getting to the top rope. Woods hits a slingshot suplex that was then transitioned into an armbar by Riddle, which was then transitioned into a deadlift suplex by Woods for a 2 count. Riddle sends Xavier Woods to the floor. They tangle on the apron. Woods catches a kick from Riddle, slams him on the apron with a Death Valley driver. Wood backdrops Riddle, comes off the second rope with a missile drop kick. Wood kips up and talks some trash before covering for a 2 count. I'm going to come back to that after the match. Riddle nails the ripcord knee strike. Woods blocks the bro dare. They continue trading those tombstone power driver counters until Woods slams Riddle into the turnbuckles and putting him in a tree of woe. Wood presses Riddle above his head, then drops him over his knee for a gut check. Riddle still kicks out at 2. Riddle then brings Woods into the ring from the apron with a huge second rope German suplex, but Woods kicks out at 2. That was a nasty landing. It looked good. Woods blocks the bro Derek once again, but Riddle comes out of nowhere with the RKO for the win. Didn't see the RKO coming out of nowhere. Props to WWE for that. This match was awesome. From the shifting their weight back, doing the tombstone power driver counters, to the slingshot, to the armbar, to the deadlift, to the apron DVD. This match was awesome. And me and Salamander have often had the discussion about Xavier Woods. And we believe Xavier Woods can be a great singles act in that mid-card division, top mid-card division. This match just goes to show you. I want to touch on one thing. When he hit the drop kick on Riddle, he then gets up, he kips up and says, "You just got kicked in your chest." I believe Xavier Woods has been watching the Boondocks, because there was an episode where Tom who is a lawyer, he gets taken over by Stinkmeaner. And he has a moment, and when Stinkmeaner takes over Tom, he drop kicks a dude who Tom has been arguing with and says, oh yeah, look at you. You was popping all that good shit just a second ago. Then you got kicked in your chest. That is one of the funniest that's one of the funniest episodes in Boondocks history. And the fact that Xavier Woods brought it out during this match when he hit the second rope drop kick, phenomenal. Had me in tears. AJ Styles versus Jackson Riker. All you need to know is that Elias interferes and Jackson Riker picks up the win. Omos comes down and catches Elias hiding. Elias and Riker run up the ramp, but Omos chases them. Omos catches Elias and sends him flying into the LED board on the stage. We have the WWE United States Champion Sheamus versus Roberto Carrillo. I'm glad to see Roberto Carrillo back after a couple weeks ago when it looked like he had his knee completely destroyed on a sunset flip powerbomb outside to Sheamus when Sheamus landed on his knee. Sheamus unloads and sends Carrillo to the floor, then follows up and launches him into the barricade. Back in the ring, Sheamus beats Roberto Carrillo down with some big forearms while he's down on the mat. Carrillo fights up and out again, stunning Sheamus with a kick. Carrillo drop kicks Sheamus to the floor, then runs the ropes for a big suicide dive, sending Sheamus into the edge of the announcer's table. Roberto Carrillo down with some big forearms while he's down on the mat. Carrillo fights up and out again, stunning Sheamus with a kick. Carrillo drop kicks Sheamus to the floor, then runs the ropes for a big suicide dive, sending Sheamus into the edge of the announcer's table. Carrillo brings Sheamus back in and nails a flying back elbow for a 2 count. Sheamus sends him to the apron. Carrillo kicks his way back in. Sheamus rolls him up basically for the win with a handful of tights while the referee could not see it. Post-match, Sheamus immediately continues to beat up Carrillo. Sheamus locks in the Cloverleaf. Ricochet flies in out of nowhere, breaking the hold. Carrillo then drops Sheamus next. Ricochet hits a shooting star plus Carrillo then nails a flying moonsault. Ricochet comes right back with a springboard 450, and the two high flyers take turns on the Celtic Warrior. Sheamus retreats Ricochet, and Roberto Carrillo stand tall in the ring. The match was good for what it was worth. Like I said, I was very excited to see Roberto Carrillo in there. I'm more of a fan of the post-match shenanigans. And if we get a triple threat at Hell in a Cell with Sheamus, Roberto, and Ricochet, sign me up. I want to see that match. That match was awesome. That match would be awesome. I want to see that. Adam Pearce, Postman Pearce, make that match happen. Main event time for the evening. Rematch. Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler versus the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Natalya and Tamina. Baszler gets upset and yells at Reginald for costing them the match. The match is still going on. He pleads with Baszler, but she yells and tells him to go away. Baszler, very upset, seething at this moment. Reginald walks up the ramp, but there's an explosion like last week. Bigger than last week's, but just like last week's. As he reaches the top, Natalya takes advantage of the distraction and rolls up Baszler for the pin. Baszler runs up the ramp, checks on Reginald. She helps him up, but grabs him by his collar. This is when Jackson's starting to get up, and she's watching what's going on with Shayna and Reginald. Baszler calls Reginald a son of a bitch and says she's tired of him interfering in her matches. Baszler says we'll see how Reginald does next week when she faces him in the ring, and if he has the balls, she'll make him wish that he was in the explosion. Baszler shoves Reginald down and storms off as Raw went off the air. Why the fuck was Nia Jax just sitting there when Natalya went for the pin? This was probably the worst match on the night. It's a rematch. I don't really want to see it. Honestly, I want you to keep it off of my television. Keep Nia and Shayna off my fucking television. I can't stand watching these two in a tag team match. They literally hurt my eyes. The bullshit shenanigans that goes into every WWE women's tag team match, it fucking irritates me. Just have one of them win clean. Just have Natalya and Tamina win clean. Why do we need shenanigans? Why do we need a roll-up? Just have them win clean and break up Nia and Shayna because they don't need to be in a team. They don't need to be in a team. Well, that's it, guys. That is the Raw review. Overall, I'm going to give the show, I'll give it a 5. The in-ring action really took it to a 5. Some of the matches on this card were good. The Charlotte and Asuka match was really good, even though I've seen it again. The Xavier Woods, Matt Riddle, that was really good. And the Drew and Kofi match was good before you got the double DQ finish. So the action overall took it to a 5 out of 10. My match of the night goes to Matt Riddle versus Xavier Woods. The spots in that match were absolutely crazy. It was beautiful to watch, and it was a really good change of pace. And Matt Riddle winning with the RKO really made it wonderful, beautiful, great storytelling in that match. You really made Xavier Woods look like he can be a legit single star in that mid-card division. Honestly, and honestly, I want to see that. I want to see an Xavier Woods singles run before he decides to hang it up. My wrestler of the night is going to go to Xavier Woods. Me and Salamander have said that Xavier Woods could be great in that mid-card. And this proved it. Like I said, I want to see a singles run with Xavier Woods. Get him a singles run and let's just push him to the moon and see what he can do in that mid-card. Well, that's it, you guys. I am KBTHEMARK, co-host of the DMB podcast, and we will see you soon.